Welcome to Bodhi Unified Flow, where we simplify complexity and amplify performance. Today, we're unpacking the 5S methodology. Sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. But in this explainer, we are focusing entirely on that absolutely crucial foundational first step, the first S, sort, or Seiri, which is all about eliminating the unnecessary. Because whether you're managing a fast-paced manufacturing floor, a busy hospital ward, or even just your own digital ecosystem, stability is literally everything. And that stability, well, it begins by ruthlessly eliminating what you just don't need.
Okay, here's our agenda. We'll start with the foundation and a 5S overview, do a deep dive into sort, look at the execution using the red tagging method, explore the synergy with safety, and then hit our summary and references. You know that feeling when you've wasted 20 minutes frantically looking for a specific tool or file, and there's a major deadline looming right over you? It's incredibly frustrating, right? Well, by the end of this session, you're going to have the actionable strategies to stop that from ever happening again. We're going to reduce your cognitive load and really enhance operational excellence in your workspace. You won't just understand the theory behind muda, or waste. You're going to master the practical red tagging execution and recognize exactly how organizing a space directly eliminates physical hazards. Part 1. The Foundation 5S Overview. Let's briefly look at the origins of 5S so we can understand why it's so fiercely effective. So this framework was born inside the Toyota production system back in the 1950s. Picture post-war Japan. They were dealing with severely limited resources. Every single square inch of space and every passing second was absolutely vital to their economic survival. Out of that intense pressure cooker, 5S was forged. Fast forward to today, and it's completely transcended manufacturing. It's a global best practice providing foundational stability in healthcare, construction, aerospace, and even digital information management. It's really become a universal language for building a resilient culture. Now, tackling muda is the whole point of the 5S framework. Muda is the Japanese term for waste. It covers the classic offenders: overproduction, waiting, transport, processing, excess inventory, unnecessary motion, and defects. Let's make that concrete for a second. Think of a giant stack of obsolete manuals taking up space on a workbench, or hundreds of unread, automated emails totally clogging your inbox. Anything in your workspace that doesn't actively help you finish a task isn't just sitting there innocently. It's a distraction. It eats your space, it eats your time, and it absolutely drains your mental energy. Moving on to part 2, deep dive, sort or Seiri. This is the first, most critical, and honestly, often the toughest phase of the whole methodology. Seiri is basically a ruthless evaluation of utility. We have to move away from individual, emotionally driven opinions and shift toward cold, hard, data-driven, operational necessity. It's the difference between someone saying, hey, I might need this spare cable someday, and realizing, wait, the data shows we haven't used this type of cable on this machine in 4 years. We're systematically pulling out the obsolete tools, the excess raw materials, the outdated documentation, and redundant equipment that's just muddying up the actual flow of your work. A cluttered workspace is so much more than a physical eyesore. It's a massive mental bottleneck. And why is that? Because our brains involuntarily process every single visual cue in our peripheral vision. Even if you're not actively looking at that pile of broken parts in the corner, your brain is still registering it. That spikes your cognitive load and seriously increases the chance of errors. But a sorted workspace? It acts as a super streamlined foundation for advanced lean methods. When you strip away the clutter, the actual defects become instantly obvious, and your ability to focus on value-adding tasks absolutely skyrockets. The psychological impact here is profound. Let me ask you, how many items in your workspace right now are sitting there just in case? We all do it, right? We keep a broken tool or an outdated file because we convince ourselves we might need it a year from now. Seiri forces us to break free from that speculative hoarding. By getting crystal clear on exactly what is essential, you liberate your team to focus exclusively on tasks that create value, and you essentially eliminate all that process opacity and confusion. All right, part 3, execution, the red tagging method. Let's see how this actually plays out in the real world using a highly visual technique. The red tagging method is a structured, inclusive 4-step process. Step 1, a cross-functional team evaluates every single object in a specific area. Step 2, if you aren't 100% sure an item is necessary, it gets a bright visual red tag. Step 3, those tagged items get moved to a central holding zone. Think of this like a quarantine zone. It creates a physical and mental barrier to prove whether an item is actually missed by the team. And step 4, if the item isn't touched within a set period, usually about 30 days, it is permanently discarded,
recycled, or sold.
Now, the bright red color screams for attention for sure, but the real magic is the documentation on the tag itself. You have to capture the item description, the date, the current user, and most importantly, the reason for removal. When you force someone to write down the actual reason, it forces them to articulate their logic. Actually, it instantly kills that emotional hoarding reflex. We are establishing facts, not feelings, about our inventory.
This decision matrix is an absolute game changer because it takes away all the guesswork. It tells you exactly what to do with an item based on its actual frequency of use. If you use it less than once a month, boom, it leaves the active workspace and goes to central storage. But if it's unnecessary or completely obsolete, immediate disposal, recycling, or sale. This uncompromising logic takes a chaotic environment of endless accumulation and transforms it into a streamlined arena of value creation.
Section 4, Synergy with Safety. While Seiri is often just thought of as an organizational tool to make things look neat, it is fundamentally a critical safety intervention.
Think about it. Clutter on a plant floor or in a warehouse is a physical barrier. It dramatically increases the chances of slips, trips, and falls. Plus, when you get rid of unnecessary items, the hidden defects suddenly become glaringly apparent. Imagine a minor hydraulic leak or a crack in a machine guard that was totally hidden under a pile of old cardboard boxes. Spotting that leak today means you can do proactive maintenance before it turns into a catastrophic failure or someone gets hurt. And, of course, it ensures your emergency exits and fire equipment are completely unobstructed at all times.
The measurable impact of this phase is honestly staggering. Typical implementations of the sort phase actually result in reclaiming 10 to 30% of valuable floor space. Just let that sink in for a second. Think about the financial impact there. Imagine what 30% more capacity means for reducing overhead costs or giving you the ability to take on entirely new projects without having to go lease a larger building. You are literally unlocking real estate you already own just by getting rid of the things you no longer need.
And finally, Part 5, Summary and References. Let's wrap up by summarizing the strategic value of Seiri and checking in on those learning objectives.
So we did what we set out to do. You can now confidently identify muda, waste, as both the physical and mental clutter that's draining your productivity. You've mastered the mechanics of the visual red tagging process, which shifts teams from emotional hoarding to data-driven choices. And crucially, we linked the act of sorting directly to hazard elimination. You've got the concrete skills to prove that a clean workspace is, fundamentally, a safe and high-performing workspace. For anyone looking to dig a little deeper, here are the references cited that provided the foundational research for what we discussed today. They're excellent resources if you want to explore the broader implications of lean management and the rest of the 5S methodology.
So I'll leave you with this question. What hidden muda is currently consuming space and cognitive energy in your own workspace right now? True operational excellence starts by removing what you don't need, so you can clearly see what you do. Take a look around your desk, your digital desktop, or your shop floor. Find that hidden waste. Thank you for joining us at Bodhi Unified Flow. Go out there, simplify your complexity, and hey, start red tagging today.